right, this is Bucky Beeman, and this is the Ask Bucky Beeman Show, and we're all Gary Vee fans, and I just walked up on these guys and I saw that they're into tech, so we're going to learn about their company, their tools, the show, how it went for you guys, and more about social media. Let's start it off. Let's do that around the horn. Who is everybody?
Sounds great. I'm Henry Medine. I'm co-founder and COO of Space Jam Data. I'm a big proponent of anything that has to do with innovation, moving forward. I run the day-to-day operations for Space Jam, and this is my first time at ICSC.
Nice.
I'm Benji Cohen. I'm also the co-founder at Space Jam Data, and I'm the CEO of the company. We're a company that is asking millions of shoppers to vote for what stores they want and tell us what they think of their local retail. We've been doing this for about 2.5 years now, and we're happy to be here on the show.
Hey, I'm Orson Adams. I handle data at Space Jam. I'm not normally on the sales side, on the business side, but it's good to come out here and see how people are interacting with technology in commercial real estate, and in particular our product.
Awesome. Just so the viewers know, we're at ICSC RECon right now, the biggest real estate show, biggest retail show in the country. Man, that means in the world, right?
Probably.
Doesn't it?
Probably. It's probably the biggest in the world.
Probably the biggest retail show in the world.
Let's dive into Space Jam. So Space Jam, from what I gathered, it's a, like you mentioned, 2-year-old company, and you guys are really not only working the data side, but also working the social side that is coming up in every industry. Talk about Space Jam and what you're doing for our industry.
So the way Space Jam started was about 2 years ago. I was working at a shopping center in Missouri, and I was working from a company based out of New York. And when I got to this shopping center in Missouri, I felt really out of touch with what was happening at this center. I didn't know what was going on. I was talking to leasing agents and store managers, but I found myself talking a lot to the local shoppers. And I realized that local shoppers have insights at every real estate project, every retail project in particular, that owners should know, and brokers should know. I think that for decades, good brokers and good developers have taken the time to engage with local shoppers and gather their insights. But there's never been a tool that crowdsources consumer insights and thousands of consumer insights at once and enables the leasing agent, the property owner, real estate operator to really connect with their local shoppers and act on those insights and make leasing pitches with that feedback and gather managerial insights from thousands of responses. And that is all able to be done because of social media. Without social media, we wouldn't be able to do that. Social media is an incredible tool that has affected so many industries over the past decade. Mark Zuckerberg now is speaking at Harvard. It's just a testament of speaking at the graduation, but Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, these are all huge topics that we all know and speak about all the time, but there's been this question thrown around in real estate for the last 5 years is how do we make this relevant for leasing, and how do we make it actionable for leasing and for management, and we feel that we're the company that's doing that.
To add to that, I think one of the larger trends that has been happening in the industry that has made our value prop more appealing is that the opportunity and responsibility to know what's going on with consumers, to get consumer data in commercial real estate was really overlooked from the landlord side. Retailers still had their own studies, whether it was marketing and promotions, figuring out ways to get consumers in the door. That responsibility was laid completely on the retailers, but now you're seeing and it still is majority retailers, but now you're seeing the landlord side, and like Benji said, the leasing side, they're starting to pay attention to it. And they're starting to say that my center as a whole needs to be somewhat branded. It needs to be appealing to the shopper. And that's one of the elements that's going to help them deal with the convenience that shoppers have in shopping online. And like we're in that space, so we're helping them understand their customers better also.
Great. What's a way that you guys are using your tool to help the individual, just specific detailed way. So break it down. If I own a shopping center, how am I going to use it?
Yeah, so you own a shopping center, you have an empty store. In about a week span, we can get a few thousand responses from local shoppers. They tell us what stores they want and what they think of that shopping center in general. So immediately you're going to get leasing insights. You're going to get new ideas for stores that maybe you didn't know in advance. You're going to get a lot of thousands of votes for particular brands that you want to pitch to. You're going to print out a report. You're going to bring it into meetings, and we're seeing that across the country now. People are using Space Jam reports. They're printing them out, and they're going to meetings when they're saying, here's, hey retailer, here's our demographics of our shopping centers area. Here's the population density of the area, and 600 people asked for you to be here. So why not be a little bit more interested in our space? And that's sort of how we're seeing people use it on the leasing side. On the management side, we're seeing that something that our tool does is, since we're reaching consumers on such a frictionless manner in social media, we have the ability to follow up to our voters with questions. So a lot of our customers use our follow-up questions feature, which is asking voters these follow-up questions, which has been traditionally done by mall surveyors and these very expensive survey companies that charge tens of thousands of dollars for a specific property report.
And actually personnel inside the mall as well, which when you're talking personnel is not cheap, right?
Not cheap.
And the turnaround time is ridiculous. 3 months.
Yeah, right.
Turnaround time is a great point. It's much longer. So that's another way that we help our customers, is we help them understand how to better manage their property. We've seen customers ask questions to their shoppers like, what was the reason for your last visit? It's very important for companies to know about their center. How often do you shop here? Every owner wants to know how often do shoppers shop at their centers. How long do you typically stay here? And what's your favorite shopping center in your neighborhood? And what would you rank our center on a scale of 1 to 10 and why? So these are all feedback that we're gathering from social media that can directly impact A, leasing, B, management, and then our third thing is marketing. And since we're gathering so much feedback from consumers on social media, we're inherently having thousands and thousands of people talking about your property, which is super valuable, as any owner would know. It's another thing for decades. People have been sending out flyers to promote their assets. Now they have Facebook and Instagram to do that.
Nice. Let's go on to the data science side. So that's where I about fall off, because I can go and ask the questions, but then I, as an individual with my small firm, we don't do much with the answers to the questions. And that's essentially what you're doing, is you're saying all that content, answers, data is coming in. What are you doing with that data to make it presentable? How are you making it presentable? Explain.
Yeah, sure. So we reinvented the survey way, right? We said, we're not going to give you options. You tell us what you want via the comments. A few things that we had to do with that, though, is we had to take the insights from the comments and turn them into something someone who's not familiar with or didn't want to look at the raw text of the comments that the reviews are saying, into something that you would appreciate, something that you could use, something that you could derive value from. So my job was to, and continues to be, transforming this raw unstructured data, which has a bunch of insights, trove of insights, into something that you could look at. So that entire pipeline. So we use artificial intelligence, machine learning, we use scraping, and we clean the data up, and we present it through beautiful visualizations. The challenge is the exact same thing, where the data is unstructured, and we just had to make it very clean for you. That's it. So we make it easy for you to understand.
Great. I just came from a talk that Liz Holland, the outgoing chairwoman, as I'll call her, of ICSC, was talking, and she said that GGP had done a study and let's say it was on 80,000 shoppers, I won't know the exact number, and they found that some of the things that were asked for, the top 4, I remember 2 specifically, bowling alleys and craft breweries inside their shopping centers. So with this data that you've been collecting, are you seeing whether it's that or any other trends in this industry?
Totally. We're seeing a huge demand for food and drink and entertainment-based retailers. Craft breweries come in very frequently, and I think it ties back to, it's not how do you get a customer in the store to buy something, it's how do you get someone in the door, period. How do you get them in the door to spend time? And the natural, what will happen subsequently is that they will walk into another store. I mean, department stores back in the day, that's how they were built. People would go through, they would walk through the entire thing to see what they would like. They wouldn't necessarily buy anything then, but they may go to the specialty retailer down the hall and buy something worth $10. They're not going to buy the $300 mattress day one. And a lot of these malls were built off of that. And in large part, entertainment venues and food and drink services, they're doing that. So people will go in for that. And if there's merchandise on the way in the other retailers, it'll benefit those retailers to have these as some of the anchors.
Great.
Yeah. So like Henry said, we are seeing a very strong skew towards a strong demand for food and drink and entertainment. So our data does match that, and we actually were just quoted in a BizNow article about that, where the title was "Millennials Requesting Strong Demand for Food and Drink and Entertainment." If you want to look it up.
But I think you're absolutely right. That's what we're seeing the trend for. If you can understand the data as a shopping center, you can better position your center, better position your team. You can help your other tenants that are still there to understand you're moving towards getting better tenants that are going to make that shopping center the best it can be in that community.
Right. And the thing with food and drink and entertainment is you can't get those things as much online as you can the other retail categories that are seeing a little bit of an increase in online spending.
How about broad categories? We're saying food and drink and things like that. Are you seeing responses of specific uses, and then are you taking the specific use ask from a consumer and putting that into the report? So an example would be Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's has taken over several Sears stores around the country. People may have commented in Facebook they wanted that in this center that you guys are providing a tool to. Is that readable, legible from your report?
Yeah, absolutely. So we get bullets with specific brands in our reports. It's so you get that breakdown over sort of like the Dave & Buster's, over sort of Sephora's, over sort of like if we're just being general. But with another interesting point though is a lot of times the people who are leasing for these assets already know some of these large brands, right? So what social media has been able to do, what we were able to do with these surveys was find a diamond in the rough.
Absolutely.
Where we're getting the regional retailer, the mom and pop shop. People are talking about these brands in our survey, in our reports, in our plan. We're sort of like pulling these extracts out for you.
Yep.
In that way, it's more than just getting the bigger brands. It's
Right.
getting the little guys to be noticed and probably helping your tenants.
Another great example of that is at this last talk, Liz brought up Flix in Des Moines is a movie theater, and they thought they were building a movie theater, but they had this craft brewery portion to their business. It's now become really a restaurant with a movie theater. It's a restaurant first, craft brewery first, and it just so happens there's movies there. And so she mentioned Flix, and in my mind, I'm in Minnesota, I go, I wonder if that group would be interested in coming to Minnesota to look at an old historic building. It may have been a consumer on Facebook that would have tagged them or just mentioned them, and I could have got that from your report, is what you're telling me.
Exactly.
Great. That's so cool. ICSC RECon, it's my first time here. What would you kind of explain this as, other than being the largest in the world? What would you explain this as for people that haven't been here before?
I would probably describe it as a celebration of retail real estate, a gathering for retail real estate professionals, a networking event of all of the networking event of all networking events real estate related. A good learning experience for people that are just starting to get into this industry. I think if I was someone who had a resume looking for a job in retail real estate, I would be running around these booths throwing my resume around. It's a great opportunity to be face to face with high profile people that you would never be able to meet in person. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for even for companies like us to get FaceTime with some of these people. It's a great and humbling experience to be at ICSC.
If any of you guys enjoy speed dating, this is probably the biggest speed dating venue I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing.
Perfect. And of course, you also see sort of the trends of we're a software company, we're a tech company, and we're sort of seeing the growth of social media or just in general like technology in commercial real estate. We've noticed that there's a lack of technology in commercial real estate.
Yeah.
So, but we're seeing the trend now towards using technology to sort of like make the process.
It's really kudos to the industry, the entire industry, and Benji can tell you about this in way more detail. He's been doing this rodeo for 3 years, going to every single show, every market, every single possible ICSC, and I've noticed it also that every company that we've been speaking to is becoming more and more aware of how important technology and data and social media is. And conversations that were at first, prove to me that this is valuable for me, are now, we know it's valuable to establish how do we make this work.
Any advice for CRE tech companies coming here for the first time?
Yeah, give something to potential clients. Don't show up to a meeting and expect people to know what your concept is and expect them to just love it and sign up and do all these things. And you have to really be there and build a relationship. When we first started out, we were giving away free reports to companies just to gain exposure. We were giving something and that would get us in the door. So that's my number one piece of advice: is give, and then don't even give to get. Just give, and then maybe you'll get, because you don't always get back in return.
Right.
But give, and then maybe you'll get.
And that may not even probably be in the first year. I'm sure this is your third year here.
Well, I've been coming to ICSCs for a long time.
Okay.
But this is my third year here, with representing Space Jam.
And so, have you seen now, finally, after the third year, some of these people you may have passed your card to or talked to, they're coming back to you?
Of course, yeah. And that's.
I walk down the hallway with him, he's saying hi to every single person in the room.
Yeah.
Every demographic you could think of. He knows the young group, the older group. It's really amazing.
That's
like,
awesome.
I'm in the office with him every day, and I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah. That's years of hustling. That's it, shaking hands, you know. Awesome. I think that's great advice for CRE tech companies. It's great to see companies like Brevitas, RavT. I just met the guy over at Hitmap. Like, there's more CRE tech companies popping up. Any sleepers that I didn't mention that you think people should pay attention to in the CRE tech, whether they're here or not, that people should look out to?
Space Jam data.
Space Jam data? Yeah.
Up and coming.
I love it.
Sleepers. I just saw Rex. I never heard of Rex before.
Oh, I haven't
That was
either.
the first time I heard of Rex. I think what they did was interesting. We like what Buxton does. Buxton's an interesting company. They're not a sleeper at all in any sense, but
I don't know what they do, but I know they're not a sleeper because of the size of their booth. I was like, what the heck is that? Yeah.
we like what they do. We like VTS a lot. That's again not a sleeper.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the way they approach technology and how they were able to get so many people using their technology so fast. ComStack is a really cool company that is trading, providing people with localized comps for specific deals, which is another cool tool that was built off of something that was already done. People used to share comps. Now they just share comps through ComStack.
And they get credits to access more comps, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great.
great company. I can't think of any
How about you,
sleepers
Henry?
right now.
Do you know like a name or two?
I'm all about Space Jam data.
Yeah.
Space Jam data, that's where it's at.
Totally.
All right, so if people want to figure out more about Space Jam data, where do they go to? How do they reach out? Even shout out to some of your own personal socials. We got to build up our personal social media as well.
This guy knows content. He knows content. You understand what's happening in this world. That's great. You could go to spacejamdata.com and find out all about us, and you could watch our product video, which is a cute little video that explains what we do. That's really the main spot. I'm gonna avoid sharing my social.
Come on, you up there yet? Can you share it?
Listen, I've been getting too many weird requests.
No, you can follow me on Twitter actually, Benji Cohen 421.
There we go.
Twitter.
NG Cohen 421. Well, thank you to the Space Jam guys for hanging out. So look forward to learning more about your company, watching you guys grow in the industry, and seeing you next year at ICSC.
Thank you
so
so
much.
Thanks, guys.
Great.